ago. So now what? This is Special Report. Good evening, I'm Brett Baer. New video tonight reinforcing this week's storyline about what's being described as the unbridled arrogance and condescension of one of the architects of President Obama's health care reform law. And it's not just Republicans grumbling about the repeated statements of MIT economics professor Jonathan Gruber. These years-old assertions from Gruber causing big problems for the president right now could lead to even more in the very near future as Republicans map a way forward to deal with the law. We have Fox team coverage tonight. Ed Henry traveling with the president in Burma with reaction there and here to the emerging scandal. But we begin with correspondent Doug McElway and the latest discovery of a most unwelcome blast from the past for the president. Good evening, Doug.
Evening, Brett. Another shocking new remark from Jonathan Gruber. In this one, he points out what he believes is the key to the passage of Romney Care in Massachusetts.
The dirty secret in Massachusetts is the feds paid for our bill. Okay? In Massachusetts, we had a very powerful senator you may know named Ted Kennedy. Ted Kennedy and smart people in Massachusetts had basically figured out a way to sort of rip off the feds for about $400 million a year.
When then Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney signed that state's health care legislation into law, he thanked Jonathan Gruber.
Jonathan Gruber at MIT devoted hours and hours to an essential econometric model.
Well, how does a nerd get in a game like this through numbers?
Having designed the theoretical computer model that made health care fiscally possible in Massachusetts, soon Connecticut, Delaware, Kansas, Oregon, and other states came calling.
Almost immediately, I was called by Governor Schwarzenegger's office in California. I spent the next year trying to do the same plan in California.
Among his fans, a young senator named Barack Obama. One meeting led to another. Before long, Obama was elected president, and Gruber was summoned to the Oval Office.
Obama realized that if he was going to start to tackle the deficit, start to tackle these problems, he had to take on health care costs, and that this law could be the vehicle for doing so.
But Gruber knew, just as Mitt Romney did, that the Massachusetts model wouldn't work nationally. Massachusetts had extra money to pay for it, secured by its influential senator, Ted Kennedy.
Ted Kennedy, who'd been delivering about $400 million a year in slush funds to our safety net hospitals, that the Bush administration was threatening to take away. The Romney administration, to their credit, went to Washington and said, can we keep this money if we use it to cover the uninsured? And the Bush administration, to their credit, said yes.
Gruber also knew that the only way his model could work nationally was through mandates. To many Americans, the idea of mandates, of taxes to pay for Obamacare, was toxic. Congress found out just how toxic during their August recess of 2009. In crafting Obamacare, Gruber demonstrated that he is brilliant at the numbers game. He was well paid for it, too, earning almost $300,000. But his blunt talk of stupid voters and hidden taxes in front of hot mics paints a very different picture of both him and the economics of Obamacare. Brett?
Doug, thank you. Now to the president's people and how they're handling this mess and a clear effort to get as far away from Jonathan Gruber as possible. Chief White House correspondent Ed Henry is traveling with the president in Burma tonight. Hello, Ed.
Brett, while the president is here trying to focus on foreign policy legacy items like trade, Republicans think the Gruber fallout will finally give them the fuel to gut his signature domestic achievement.
President Obama posed in Asia today in front of a Buddhist statue that looked like a massive gold throne, as Republicans back home stepped up their attacks over Jonathan Gruber's comments, charging it's a glaring example of an executive branch out of control.
What this insider saying confirms that they were spinning tales from beginning to end because they knew they couldn't tell the truth about Obamacare and have a chance of passing it, even with its Democratic Senate with 60 votes.
From Capitol Hill to Naypyidaw, Burma, Democrats today struggled to push back on the firestorm, with the president's spokesman actually trying to shift blame to the GOP.
Well, it is Republicans who have been less than forthright and transparent about what their proposed changes to the Affordable Care Act would do in terms of the choices that are available to middle-class families.
Except it was Gruber, an architect of the president's health law, who said the opposite.
The lack of transparency is a huge political advantage. And basically, call it the stupidity of the American voter or whatever. But basically, that was really, really critical to getting the thing to pass.
House Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi, who famously said you needed to pass the bill to find out what's in it, today tried to say she knew nothing about Gruber.
I don't know who he is. He didn't help write our bill. And so, with all due respect to your question, you have a person who wasn't writing our bill commenting on what was going on when we were writing the bill, who has withdrawn some of the statements that he made. So let's put him aside.
One little problem. Pelosi seemed intimately familiar with Gruber in 2009 when she was selling the bill's benefits.
I don't know if you have seen Jonathan Gruber of MIT's analysis of what the comparison is to the status quo versus what will happen in our bill for those who seek insurance within the exchange. And our bill takes down those costs.
Now Democrats are running from Gruber.
To suggest that voters are stupid and that's how you passed it, you don't feel bad about that at all?
I disagree vigorously with that assessment, I think is what I would say. I think the fact of the matter is this was a very difficult undertaking, but ultimately this is a law that has had significant benefits for millions of people.
Republicans counter the ends do not justify the means.
I expect that we're going to strip out the most damaging parts of the health care law, focus on things that have already passed the House with bipartisan support. The employer mandate, get rid of that. Focus and try to eliminate the individual mandate.
Another architect of the law, former HHS Secretary Kathleen Sebelius, ducked a question today about Gruber.
You could talk to Dr. Gruber about what he said, but I don't have a comment about his comments. Anything else?
Sebelius went on to say that Republicans still do not have the votes to repeal. As for Pelosi, her staff insists Gruber did not help write the law, even though she and others praised his work. Brett.
Ed Henry traveling with the president. Ed, stand by if you will. After Obamacare, the next big issue, sure to enrage Republicans, is immigration reform by executive action. Fox News broke the story last night about the specifics of the president's proposed plan for mass legalization of millions of illegal immigrants. Tonight, Chief Congressional Correspondent Mike Emanuel has reaction.
Speaker John Boehner's message late today, President Obama taking executive action will jeopardize immigration reform and other issues as well.
We're going to fight the president tooth and nail if he continues down this path.
The draft order obtained by Fox calls for allowing up to 4.5 million illegal immigrants with children who were born in this country to stay in the U.S. It would expand deferred action for children brought to this country illegally by their parents.
I'm confident that what the president will do will be consistent with our laws. In the absence of congressional action, as the president has indicated, he is prepared to use in an appropriate way the executive power that he has.
One border state Republican warned activists they should be careful what they wish for regarding executive action.
Being from Arizona, a border state, I will tell you, if this president goes unilaterally, I believe he will make the subject of immigration absolutely toxic for a decade.
And Schweikert said the costs will be more than political.
Our school districts, our healthcare systems, all the other things that come along with that.
There is concern about the impact in other ways since the lame duck Congress must pass a government funding extension. The current measure runs out at midnight on December 11th. Arizona Republican Congressman Matt Salmon sent this letter with 63 signatures to the chairman and ranking member of House Appropriations. Quote, "We write to encourage you to include language that would prohibit funding for the president's reported intentions to create work permits and green cards for undocumented immigrants currently in the United States." House Appropriations Chairman Republican Hal Rogers warned if the president acts before Congress passes a funding bill, there will be an explosion on Capitol Hill. But Rogers says a government shutdown is not an option.
Well, there's no one more strong than me against unilateral action by the president on this subject. However, like it's been said before, don't take a hostage you can't shoot.
In Burma, White House Press Secretary Josh Earnest didn't reveal when the president would act.
In some ways, the timing of the president's decision is not nearly as significant as the decision that is facing House Republican leaders about whether they want to continue to block bipartisan legislation that has already passed the Senate and that would do so much more even to address the challenges of our broken immigration system.
Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell said there will be no default, no government shutdown, but clearly there's a concern about the impact on this Congress and the next one. Brett?
Mike Emanuel live on the Hill. Mike, thanks. Let's bring back Chief White House Correspondent Ed Henry from early morning in Burma right now to talk more about this immigration issue. Ed, you're hearing there's a split among some of the president's advisors over whether to move this month or next?
Yeah, Circle December 11th, 12th on the calendar. You heard Mike Emanuel there report that the continuing resolution, basically funding for the government, runs out right around then. I'm told some of the president's advisors are saying don't blow up that budget deal by doing this immigration executive orders in the next few days. They don't believe either party will shut the government down over this, but although that's a possibility. But there's a lot of nominations the president wants to get through while Harry Reid is still in charge of the Senate, especially Loretta Lynch as Attorney General, of course. They're saying don't do anything in the short term. Wait until mid-December. But I'm told there are other senior advisors around the president saying go forward next week or in the next few days. Get this done. Rip the Band-Aid off, because Republicans are going to be mad either way. Just get this done and over with, Brett.
Could happen as early as next week. Ed Henry, live in Burma. Ed, thanks. Well, do you believe the president will go through the executive order next week? Go through with it? Let me know on Facebook.com/BrettBairSR or on Twitter @BrettBair. Use the hashtag special report. One more word about Obamacare. The Government Accountability Office says small business enrollments in state health care programs are much lower than expected. It says just 76,000 people had signed up for 12,000 plans by the end of June. One of the reasons? The perception that the tax credit for small businesses is too small and too difficult to get. Up next, the leader of ISIS is not dead, and he's vowing to keep fighting until he is. First, here's what some of our Fox affiliates across the country are covering tonight. Fox 29 in Philadelphia with terrorism charges against a man accused of ambushing a Pennsylvania State Police barracks and killing a trooper. Eric Freen had already been charged with first-degree murder. Authorities say he told them he wanted to wake people up. Fox 11 in Charleston, West Virginia with an indictment for the former executive who oversaw a mine that exploded in 2010, killing 29 people. Retired Massey Energy CEO Don Blankenship faces federal charges that could get him 31 years in prison. Blankenship has denied wrongdoing surrounding the accident at Upper Big Branch Mine. And this is a live look at St. Louis from Fox 2, our affiliate there. The big story there tonight, a warehouse on fire east of the Anheuser-Busch Brewery, south of the city's downtown. Fire crews are on the scene. The building has been evacuated, and they're still fighting it. That's tonight's live look outside the Beltway. From Special Report, we'll be right back.